Hello guys, welcome back again to the channel. If you're new here, you can please subscribe, share, and just promote our content. We'll be discussing, we usually discuss politics, economics, finance, and things that affect our day-to-day life that we find that are necessary for everyone to know and to share about. We would love for you to share with us your ideas and also your opinions on the show. If you even if it's good thing, critics, we want anything that can make us stronger. I just want to make a disclaimer. On the last video, I said the Construction Bank of China. I was meant to say Industrial Commercial Bank of China. So if you hear me saying construction, I'm meaning to say Industrial Commercial Bank of China. Even though the Industrial Bank of China is on this list. Sorry, I mean, even though the Construction Bank is on this list, I meant to say Industrial Commercial Bank of China. So today we're going to be discussing the next institutions on the list. Last time we discussed number one was BancAsia, number two was Industrial Commercial Bank of China, and number three was Saudi Aramco. If you just passing by through this video, this is a part two. The part one, the main heading is top earning companies of 2022 globally. So without further ado, we can start with number 4, which is JP Morgan. I don't know if Joel, you have something to say about that.
Yeah, so JP Morgan is a banking and financial service kind of company. It's a financial holding company, meaning they offer services aside from only banking. And it was founded in 2000. It's an American company headquartered in New York. And the CEO is Jamie Dimon. So I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Jamie Dimon. Its profits are $42 billion, and its revenue is $124 billion. So if you look at the profit margin, it's around. It's a very profitable company, and it has a total asset count of $4 trillion.
4 trillion.
JP Morgan. Assets, sorry.
I'm reading from no problem.
So the assets are 4 trillion. So that's very, very it's a very impressive portfolio. And if you think about it, it's an American company, so it's only 22 years old. And you find that America is a capitalistic kind of company, so it probably has a lot of assets in within America and probably outside of America, maybe in Europe. And also it does wealth management, so it means it helps
manages
people
for
manage
big
their wealth.
And big institutions.
For big companies. It helps companies make it has online banking, mobile banking, telephone banking. It has ATMs, services. So it's that kind of asset holder that is well rooted inside the financial industry. So if it's anything finance, you'll hear JP Morgan. JP Morgan does this.
When
JP Morgan does this.
Every time I hear about JP Morgan, I usually associate it with the likes of HSBC. Those big banks that that we've always growing up knowing that these with Bank of America, the big banks that control the financial world, and JP Morgan, I came to realize when I was growing up, because of how it was marketed, you at times even you used to think that JP Morgan is, I'm not saying it's not international, but it's very hard for you to see its branches, especially here in Kenya or in Africa. We don't see a lot of JP Morgan. And one of the things that made me realize JP Morgan is a very influential bank is when the European football, they wanted to open their own league. It was called the Super League, where now they would pick the best teams to join that league. And JP Morgan was one of the financiers of that league. And apparently the league was cancelled. Governments around Europe ganged up together to cancel the league because they saw the league as a way of stealing talent from, football in Europe is structured in such a way that the wealth and the talent are protected locally, and this Champions League, Premier League, all these leagues, they've been existing for years, so somehow they are protected under FIFA law. But now the billionaires who own the club, who own these big clubs like Manchester, Bayern, Real, they wanted to open their own. It's like a coup. They wanted to do a coup on FIFA. They wanted to open their own league, and the bank that was sponsoring this other league was one of them was JP Morgan. And in fact, they were saying that just signing to that league, because the league was supporting big clubs, just a signature, the club would be, each signature would cost $400 million. So if Manchester signed to that league and it was accepted, even before any negotiation, they could have received $400 million. So it shows you the kind of, how JP Morgan is very influential even when it comes to things like football, because football is a big brand. This is just one of the examples. So if you, and a bank like JP Morgan has a lot of advisors, economic scientists who can see where so if you find a bank like this really pushing and supporting, they know, even if we give, because there were like 10 clubs, probably they could have spent like $4 billion or $5 billion, but they know in the long run, will be making way more money, because now if you bring also the American kind of money into football, that banking money now, and we know and we understand how Americans are very good in marketing and commercializing a product. If this was to go through, I feel like, I'm not saying football is not popular now, but the popularity that would have been pushed to make sure that even if you live in under a rock, you know what's happening in the football world. But that's just a snippet of showing how, this JP Morgan, this bank, it's a very powerful bank, and that's why it is, when you find it at number 4, you're not that shocked why it's here, because it has established itself, and interesting, it's more of an American based bank, so it shows you also the capital flow inside the American economy. It's crazy, it's numerous.
Yeah, and if you look at how Americans operate, Americans like to own everything from the top bottom.
Mm-hmm.
They incentivize very well for you to join them. If you look at JP Morgan, you might, we haven't done enough research, but I'm sure JP Morgan is one of the banks that handles a very big transaction between, customers and companies. It's the kind of bank that, keeps large amounts of records of credit scores. It keeps large amounts of records of, how the economy is going from point A to point B. If you look at a company like JP Morgan, they're the kind of company that invests heavily in technology, in prediction algorithms, in things like, wealth creation, seeing what's going on, how people spend, how people invest, how people make wealth. And JP Morgan is now at the center of all that. It's as a center of, exchange of goods and services through banking. Although I don't have much to say about JP Morgan, but being an American company and being that influential,
but these companies, these banks were so influential. Even the 2008 financial crisis that America went through, it was brought about by these big banks of America. Even JP Morgan is a culprit of of manipulating the American economic system. There are those theories that these banks, they caused the financial meltdown of 2008, where companies like Ford, General Motors lost a lot of money. And then when Obama came in, he came promising that he's going to turn everything back to rosy, and immediately went into the White House. The guys who he worked with were the same guys who brought the economic meltdown. So it shows you how this bank, like a bank like JP Morgan, one of them, they're so influential, they can get away with causing an economic meltdown. And then when even a new administration comes in, they're on the table again. So that it means that they cause an economic meltdown, they benefit. When the economy starts rising again, they're on the table. It means they're so influential, even if they've committed this, you can't just shun them away. You have to, you have to negotiate with them. In Swahili they say mwenye nguvu mpishe. It means like the one who has the strength, let him pass. It's like that kind of mentality. But far from that, I'm still very astonished by this list, as I said before, because the guys were expecting their companies to be on these lists, they are not, or if they are, they have not doing fairly well. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's go to
Yeah, I
the
think
other one.
I think we can go to number 5.
Yeah,
So number 5 is China Construction Bank.
yeah.
So let me do a bit of introduction of China Construction Bank. It's a Chinese company, obviously from the name, it's a Chinese company.
Mm-hmm.
It was started very recently, quite recently in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and it's headquartered in Beijing. The CEO is Wang Zuji, and that's just their bit of portfolio. They have assets worth $4.7 trillion. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what they own. Profits are $46 billion in that year.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at, we talked about the ICBC, bank it's the same kind of environment.
Mm-hmm.
China, these guys are issuing a lot of resources for guys to, they have a loyal customer base where personal banking, treasury, and others, corporate banking, whereby their customers are really, really loyal to them. They really use
Mm-hmm.
they use a lot of how do they say it? Sorry, let me just start again. Their financial structure within China is very efficient. They play a big role in issuing loans to people to build infrastructure, to build companies. They are very heavy in the personal financial industry. That's personal banking.
Mm-hmm.
Issuing loans, keeping credit scores. They probably have affiliations with the government, where the government asks for loans from the bank. And we also spoke about how such banks in China, they have influence over giving loans to countries like Kenya and countries in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And the overall financial structure to be number
5.
to be number 5. Yeah. So you find that a bank like China started in 2014. China Construction Bank started in 2014. You ask yourself, what kind of strategy are this guy is using to be so profitable in such a short period of time? Where you look at JP Morgan was started in the year 2000, and probably the founders of JP Morgan were people from other banks.
Mm-hmm.
What is China doing that other countries are not seeing? Because 2014 up to now, that's around
Yeah,
7 years only,
yeah.
and they are already a very big player internationally,
Mm.
offering financial services and still making profits, and not just profits, but massive amounts of profits to put them at such a position.
And one thing that people need to know, that all these institutions in China are government institutions. You can't separate big institutions in China and 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 the government. If even if it's a China Construction Bank of China, uh, the main shareholder is the government, because as you must know that China is a communist state and everything is owned by the government. So that's why you find that a bank has started in 2011. It's already giving JP Morgan a run for the money. Is because there's a political will. If laws are need to be changed so that the bank can operate freely without any, the government is supportive of this institution 100%. And I think
Yeah.
that's one thing we need to learn about the Chinese, the fact that the government is backing their projects and everything. It's easy for them to start a project, and if they tell you it's 10 days, it's 10 days. But if you look on the other side of the Western world, with democracy, I'm not saying democracy is bad, but it brings a lot of bureaucracy, where a project can stall even for 5 years because it hasn't started, because guys are taking each other to court. Certain regulations are need to be followed and everything. But and this is where now we find even if you look at this list, you find that there's also the global dominance that's happening right now in the world, where China and America are competing. Even on this list, you can see clearly they're competing, because if a company can start in 2011 and it's already coming, we looked at the Industrial Commercial Bank of China. It started around the same time. Warren Buffett company started in 1939, and you can see that they are almost at par. So clearly you can see even in this list there's competition for global finance and dominance, apart from the military and the politics between the American and it will be very interesting to see which ideology wins at the end, because the communist one or the democratic one, because those are two different ideologies, and even how these two countries and institutions approach their things is very different. Because here you can see even the list, even the banks that you are naming in America, they sound very individualistic banks, like a very capitalistic, but in China they sound like community banks, like Industrial Commercial Bank of China. It sounds like a bank for everyone. It's like a state-owned. Everyone has, can benefit from this bank. In Construction Bank of China. But when you name the American banks, you realize they even have names like JP Morgan. That's a name. So it just shows you the different ways of thinking.
The different kind of mindset Chinese and Americans have. I think China, it's all for China. It's all for China or not for China, because there's no individualist. If you look at even how they're operating, it's not about an individual by himself or by herself.
It's Chinese glory.
It's about the whole country as a whole. Yeah. So you find that probably in America there's favorism amongst those amongst those companies of they favor a certain group of people, or a certain group of people are favored better than others. And you find that in China, it's everyone plays a part in the country. Everyone wants to contribute. So even a China Construction Bank, it's going to give everyone who is Chinese an opportunity to grow in the financial service. Accumulating, like we've said, credit scores, giving loans for infrastructure, giving loans for companies to grow, factories, manufacturing, mining, and that's the kind of growth that the growth mentality they have. They know that you require resources, especially finance, to be able to grow an industry, and that's where they've gone very quickly. Because imagine if you gave people all the money they needed to start, banks, and not banks, but if banks gave people the money they needed to start factories and to start, farming, agriculture, production of resources, I think those banks would be very ahead in a very short duration of time. Because if you look at China exports almost everything. They're probably the only thing they don't export is, maybe
it's even shocking. Sorry to cut you off, but it's even shocking that China even export. When you say everything, it's literally everything.
They even export Kenyan made
even agricultural
from China.
Yeah, even onions, even garlic, fish.
Even onions, garlic.
Even fish from China is
honey,
more cheaper than from your country.
Even honey is more cheaper than even a country that has cheap things. Even everything is cheap, and you find that it's because these guys are giving people a lot of resources to open up massive fisheries, massive plantations for things like oranges and fruits. And they have China is has a lot of land, and because we just see only Beijing, you don't know what's going on in the other parts of the land, and it has a population of 1.3 billion. So these are guys who constantly are doing things very big. If someone is producing fish in China, they're not just producing 2 tons or 20 tons, they're producing hundreds of thousands of tons of anything, even garments.
You remember even the time we were seeing the biggest dairy industry in the world. I think China is one of, if not top 3, the biggest dairy industry. Like
it's one of it's top 3.
Like
top 3.
The milk manufactured in China is, and these banks now are like, because if you look at these Chinese banks, like a country like Australia, Australia was one of the largest trading partners in China. In fact, a lot of Chinese billionaires and these wealthy guys were buying companies from Australia because Australia is also a big mining land. Australia has a lot of coal, metal. So you find that these banks are the ones who are finding these expeditions. It's like we are back into the the 1700s, 1600s or 1500s of where Christopher Columbus was being given a crew and some money to go and explore. But now we're in like a 21st century where now these big banks have they're giving guys loans
They're
to
funding
go
the
and look for
Christopher
companies.
Columbus.
Yeah, and look for companies because I was reading an article where it was focusing on Chinese in Zambia, and one Chinese was saying he grows dragon fruit over there, and another one keeps hogs. They were both saying that the government encourages them. The government go out there, go out there,
Yeah.
learn what's happening out
Produce,
there. Yeah,
manufacture,
yeah, make
yeah,
China great, yeah. So that
yeah.
yeah, go out and
And they
see
also trust, and
opportunities.
yeah, and even if you think about it, something like paying back loans in China, which we
Yeah.
spoke about this before, they're so loyal in paying back their loans that things work. You borrowed a certain amount of money, you opened up a business, you're given 5 years to pay back the loan. In 5 years, probably in 3, you've already paid it back. You borrow a bigger loan, you open up a bigger, production facility, you do bigger things, you import, you even able to buy probably even containers to be transported by the ship. Your products are being transported by air, by ship, by train, all across the world. And you know that kind of distribution network for a whole country is obviously it's funded by
A
a very
billion
powerful
people,
bank.
it's not easy to control that kind of population.
Mm.
Anyway, I don't want us to spend so much on China because the next one, I know it's an interesting
Yeah.
one. We are now at number
Yeah.
6, and it's Amazon. Now
Yeah. So Amazon, we all know Amazon. You've heard of Amazon. Amazon specializes in retail. Amazon.com. They usually they're a platform where you can sell your products. It's like here in Kenya we have Jumia, but Amazon is the largest. It even has ships. It has trains. Amazon owns airplanes for transporting goods and services. Not services, but goods across the world. So Amazon is a very powerful company. Jeff Bezos is the founder of Amazon. It was founded in 1994. It's more of a technology company, and the current CEO is Andy Jassy. So you find that a company like Amazon is another American, American spearheaded type of company. Its assets are 420 billion.
but
Revenue is
but
460.
but when you're saying the asset, the revenue, and on the other video, I don't know if guys can remember that we said that the profit margin is now the issue with this company. Yeah, because it means it's operation cost, because it makes it handles money worth 400
Revenue
billion,
is
but
high, but revenue is low.
but the profit is 33 billion.
Compared to the revenue.
Yeah,
profit is low. I mean, revenue is high, profit is low. Yeah.
that's why we were saying even
And if
for
you look at Amazon, Amazon has been in the retail
continue.
game it was one of the pioneers of retail online. Their main business, their main popularity is Amazon is an online retail store. And a bit of history of Amazon, they started selling only books. So they didn't start with 20 or 30 products. They started selling only books, and books were the main, it was the main product for Amazon. But Amazon eventually they started buying land, and this land they utilized it for creating warehouses, whereby after they got a couple of billion of dollars, I mean, they started buying land. This land they utilized it to create warehouses and fulfillment centers, whereby they would have a warehouse where it has maybe 100 different types of products. And when you order the product, the fulfillment center fulfills the order, packages it, and then they use UPS. They didn't have even a service for delivery. They used UPS to deliver all their products, because UPS was a company that did postal deliveries, like letters and packages. So Amazon partnered with UPS to deliver packages around the US. But Amazon grew. It grew very fast. It grew up, and it started becoming a very big player in the tech Silicon Valley type of history. And if you look at Amazon, they started Amazon Web Services, which was an online cloud service for people to host their websites and host their online services. So that's also a big part of Amazon's revenue. So as much as it's a retail, it started into online cloud services and things like that. And if you look at Amazon being number 6 in the world, that's a very big status. This is a company that has been envisioned by, Jeff Bezos. And the way, we were talking about Jeff Bezos, how he was a genius when he was in college and high school, and he had the vision to be able to, you know, make online retail something that is so powerful in his country. And you look at Amazon, like we didn't know about, even us, we started using Amazon very recently. Amazon is across the world right now. If you want something in Kenya, you can get it from Amazon. And Amazon also really, really, where it beats something like Alibaba, even though Alibaba is more, is just as popular. Amazon beats Alibaba with quality. If you buy something on Amazon, you're guaranteed it will probably a quality product. You can buy Apple products, you can buy things, electronics, you can buy, high quality items. And that's why I think Amazon still makes, still
It's still
retains its
reigning
as one of the best online retail stores. You see, if you look at a company like Alibaba, they sell a lot of generic and low quality products, which people don't like. But Amazon, it's a guaranteed high quality product. And Americans all about quality, and they hold each other accountable for producing quality products. So Amazon is a very big player in the retail world. And assets of assets of 420 billion, that means they own subsidiaries, they own other services. Recently Jeff Bezos bought Washington Post, and that came from his influence from Amazon. So I think Amazon is also a very, if you're thinking about retail and how to buy and sell retail, you should look at Amazon supply chain, from the warehouse
to
it even
bet
the house.
No, I'm sorry, but it was almost even to get a government contract for the Pentagon. So and Microsoft got the contract, even though people are saying that it was more of a political reason, because Trump wasn't a friend of Jeff Bezos, since Jeff Bezos owns Washington Post. So Microsoft got, but the company that was initially supposed to be given that contract, because of AWS and all those things, it was Jeff Bezos company. So it shows you, I think Jeff Bezos, because when I was seeing his videos, I realized he's a guy who didn't care so much about profit. He cared about the impact of the company. And I feel that that's how this company is following this. So, because you can see the profits are low, but it's handling a lot of revenue. So it's not like it's a failing company. He's just putting,
he's a customer oriented first company. The customer is always right kind of company.
So he's investing more to make the service reliable. He's not looking at profit,
reliable
right?
and efficient.
He's not looking at I think that's because now we've reached a point where you can order from anywhere in the world and you can get a product through Amazon.
And if you look at the reason why you might find their profits are low and their revenue is high, it's because they are buying aeroplanes, they're buying ships, they're buying any form of land, air, sea transport, and that makes them, maybe most of the assets, even they have trains. They even probably build train tracks to, transport their goods even much faster. Because I think in every state there's probably an Amazon fulfillment center in America.
Even in Europe, every European
even
country.
In Europe. Actually, if you do, I read an article that was saying UK is one of the largest users of online retail, Amazon. They even in UK, they want to start testing things like drones to deliver goods and product. They want to start testing blimps. A blimp is a airship. It floats in the air indefinitely. So the drones would go to the airship and pick a product and then deliver to someone's house in the UK. Actually, the UK is a spearhead of Amazon testing drones. And also Amazon recently purchased this retail store whereby they now have a retail store where you just enter, you just enter in the store, pick a product and then leave. There's no cashier, there's no payment with cash. You just enter and pick the product and then leave. It automatically deducts from your bank account. I heard also rumors of Amazon, they want to build conveyor belts, underground conveyor belts, whereby the conveyor belts are in tunnels underground and they're connected to every home in America. So you wouldn't even need roads or ships or anything like that to deliver products. You just need someone's address and the product will come inside your house. Like the way Santa Claus delivers products in the chimney, now Amazon will deliver products from underneath the house.
So Amazon is is becoming a real life Santa Claus.
Yeah, real life Santa Claus for Christmas. Yeah.
For Christmas.
Yeah.
The next company before it's Apple.
Yeah, it's Apple.
Yeah, it's number 7.
Yeah, everyone, you know, if you see someone with an Apple device, it's either they're rich or they're in a first world country.
Yeah.
Where you come from, it's either they're rich or in a first world country. So Apple is, you know, it designs and manufactures tablets, Apple watches, you know, wearables. It manufactures smartphones. It manufactures computers. And the funny thing about Apple, it doesn't have semiconductors. It doesn't have services like Google Cloud or Amazon Web Services. It's all the services are in Apple. So if you want to access Apple Cloud, you have to have an Apple phone. If you want to use iTunes, you have to have an Apple phone. So I think that's what makes it a very, you know, it's a very unique company whereby everything is Apple, and they don't sell outside Apple users, you know. And we hear Apple is going to start manufacturing virtual reality headsets. In the future, it's going to start manufacturing electric cars like Tesla. And Apple has been, you know, Steve Jobs made sure that Apple was something that the Louis Vuitton or the luxury brand for electronics. You know, and Apple is known for its, you know, security and, you know, it protects its customers. They even have a program where you can exchange phones. You know, it's really also very customer oriented, and it has the most impressive, you know, products. Apple, even an old Apple phone, it doesn't hang. You know, it doesn't crash. You know, all of a sudden it doesn't crash. Apple really regulates the type of apps that are on the App Store, and it really protects what the interest of the customers. You know, and that's, I think, you know, beyond design and manufacturing, I think Apple really,
it's a well thought out product.
Yeah, it's a well thought out product. They think about elegance. They think about simplicity. The apps are very simple. You know, it's very simple to use an Apple phone. Even the concept of apps and you know, smartphones came with Apple first. You know, Apple was the first company to release a smartphone where it has applications, and each application is, you know, you can listen to music on the phone. You can look at maps on the phone. You can browse internet on the phone. You can. And it opened up the App Store whereby if you're a software engineer or a software developer, you can submit Apple apps to the Apple Store, and that's also another place it started making money. It charges $99 to submit your app to the App Store, and you know, it started getting, even if Huawei has its own App Store, Samsung, and you know, even Google has its own App Store, Apple is still number one. It has a market share of 40% of the world is using Apple products, and the rest is shared by Samsung and the rest. So Apple has a very huge influence on the kind of, you know, even everyone, when they make money, they buy Apple phones. Like, you don't see a lot of people buying Samsung, and you know, there are people who buy Samsung. You know, there's always a preference, but Apple is the number one preference for style and elegance, and that's why they reigned supreme. And you know, also their designs, you know, they're the ones who come up with things like AirPods. You know, they are the guys who
they come up with a design, and then everybody copies.
Everybody else copies, yeah, because they have a success oriented type of product design whereby they know people will buy this product, they know people will use it, and they know people will want it. So they're the kind of industry and company that creates products that don't exist. They create a need in the market that is not even there. It's like you know, it's like an inventor who creates something that people don't even need, but people end up using it. That's the kind of company Apple is. And you know, it's not even surprising that they're number 7, because they are, you know, they don't even do as much as Berkshire or other financial companies. They just do gadgets, you know, electronical gadgets, and they're number 7. That shows how much they are. You know, if you look at Google and other companies like Facebook and all those other companies, Facebook does Facebook app, you know, WhatsApp, Instagram, Oculus, and Google does Google Search, Google Office Suite, all these things, and then they still do hardware. But Apple just does hardware and software for their hardware, and they're number 1.
Okay,
so that's, you know.
I've always found Apple to be an interesting kind of business, because you know, you remember when the Steve Jobs was alive, guys could queue up, even could sleep in bags, and you know, that's the kind of craze that I haven't seen that craze, you know, since that time. And just to
Mm.
show you how, you know, the company is well structured, is that the biggest market for Apple phones is in China. If Chinese are, you know, Chinese are so nationalist. Even if there's an issue right now with America and they're still buying your phones, it means there's something there. You know,
There's a deal. There's a deal they struck
no, it's
so
not
that
even a
Apple
deal.
can continue selling.
It's not even. I'm not even looking at a deal. I'm looking at how they view a product. You know, because there are Huawei's that are good as Apple and Xiaomi's, but
Yeah, and
if
Samsung's,
Apple is
yeah,
continuing
but
to
people
be then,
still.
yeah, especially in China, you know, because China is their largest market. Although now I'm seeing because of these tensions, they are moving the manufacturing to India. Now, even this new iPhone was manufactured in India. So
The
also,
iPhone 13.
yeah, so that also shows you how Apple is
Okay.
a very strategic company. You know, it's always
Yeah.
it's always ahead of the curve. And even when Donald Trump came into power, you know, Tim Cook was one of the board guys, the business members. You know, that shows you like you can't become the president of the United States without having a guy like Tim Cook or the CEO of Apple in your table. Yeah, in your table. Yeah, because even the CEO of Apple, or Apple, the company itself, has good relationship with China, with India. You see now it's India.
Yeah.
It has been having almost a 20-year-old relationship with China. And you know, and Chinese are very nationalistic. They usually phase out so many companies. Google is not in China. Facebook is not in China. But Apple still, there's something that Apple is doing that these other companies probably are not doing. And that's one of the real success stories of Apple. It's a very, very, you know, adaptable. It's adaptable to anything.
Yeah. So I think we'll
can
continue in the next video.
Yeah, the final video. Thank you guys. Subscribe and we'll keep on engaging.
Okay, thank you guys. Please like and subscribe.